So once again, welcome, Ravi, and hope that we have a blast in this conversation.
Thanks, both of you. Pleasure to be here.
Great. So Ravi, let's quickly, maybe I'll just Aditya has already given a quick introduction about you. So guys, Insurance Samadhan has been on Shark Tank. They got an offer, they rejected the offer, so they had seen a huge, they have been in the industry for quite some time. Ravi has been in the industry for quite some time, so we'll just talk about what he has gone through, his perspective, and where does he see the industry going in the next decade. So, Ravi, you have been in the ecosystem for almost a decade now, right? So, how do you see what is your overall, how has been your journey so far?
First of all, good morning to everyone who is here on a Sunday morning. Says a lot about you, your guys' passion about technology. Yeah. So starting on that good note, I've been into the industry since last more than 12 years. Started in 2011. One of the very few engineers who get to work in a corporate job while studying. So I was still a student when I started officially my first job. Um long journey, but again, if you just like compare with the journeys of other founders and everything, I think I'm still starting out, still day one kind of a feeling every day when I sit on that chair as a founder and CTO of Insurance Samadhan. The feeling, Sukant, has been very simple. Tech is a field whereby you need to upgrade yourself every single day. India as a country is on the cusp of taking giant strides. It is taking giant strides, but I still feel there is a lot that needs to be done. And in the tech department, especially, we are going to be a force to be reckoned globally, and there are going to be lot and lot more companies that are going to come out of India and building for the world. It is like what has happened till now is like we are building, but we are not building out of India. There are not many companies who has gone out and like put a stamp on the global map that we have come out from India and building for the world. Next decade is going to be a game changer in that department. Talking specifically about Insurance Samadhan, started 5 years ago. I was not part of the founding member. I joined them in 2019. Joined them as a CTO. Then found this problem very interesting. Something which is need, something which has been plaguing the insurance ecosystem. Need of the hour. Directly working for the customer, and that's how I got intrigued by this problem. Started building technology around that. Starting first taking notes about what exactly this problem is. I am not from insurance sector. It was my first like first time I had an encounter understanding insurance, how does this work and everything. And to my amazement, it is a very very complex thing. But if you have good experts on your side, as we have at Insurance Samadhan, they can break down the problems, and they can break down into very very small and simple things. And then we started making technology around it. We were a category creator, no reference point. If you tell somebody to make a OTT now, they have reference points. They can look towards the Netflixes of the world, the Hotstars
Pretty
of the
unique
world, and they
problem
can.
that you guys are solving as well, right? So maybe Ravi, if you want, can you share a little bit about what Insurance Samadhan does, sharing the context, setting up the context for who those who do not know. I'm sure most of them knows about you guys, but yeah,
So Insurance Samadhan is India's first technical platform for resolution of insurance grievances. I will break down it in a very very simple one liner. If you have any problem with your insurance policy, we are the one stop solution right now in India. We do not sell insurance. After selling of insurance, if you can buy insurance policy from anywhere, be it any broker, agent, insurance company. Once you have bought insurance, rest of the part we do. If you face any problem of claim rejection, or your claim has been short settled, by short settle I mean, if you were supposed to get 1 lakh rupees and if you have only got 50,000, that is known as short settlement of claim. We do that also. Or if you have been missold an insurance policy, for example, You have an insurance policy, and after a couple of years, or maybe after paying 3 4 premiums, you got to understand that this policy is not something that it was intended for. Those are the cases that we solve. We have started with claim filing. We will help you in filing your claim. The USP of insurance Samadhan, and we have increased our buffet of services. We have built a tool known as KYP, Know Your Policy. So we have identified a problem whereby every insurance policy holder, 99.9% of insurance policy holder, do not understand what is inside their policy. So what we have developed is a globally unique product whereby you just have to upload your insurance policy PDF to our app.
And any
And
that could be any policy, right?
right now we are live with 12 life insurance companies and 4 health insurance company. By the year end, we will be live with every insurance company in India. What you need to do is you just need to upload your insurance policy PDF, and our system, RAIML intelligence system that we have built, will tell you exactly what is inside your insurance policy. And we have done it in a manner whereby it will be presented to you in a simple yes or no question. I'll just give you an example to make people understand it better. For example, there are questions in your insurance policy document whereby you are being asked, do you drink or not? Now what people do is, if they say yes they drink, the premium goes high. So to avoid that, what people say is no. But sometimes what happens is, you have told that you are like, you drink, but the agent or like the somebody who's like there, who might feel that if the insurance premium goes high, you will refrain from buying that insurance policy. So in spite of you telling, somebody has put it as like you, the person doesn't drink. Now what happens is, once you get that insurance policy and you upload it in our app, we will tell you that it has been marked as no. We will tell you what exactly is the phone number which is marked inside your insurance policy. Who is your nominee? What is your phone number? There are 100 data points that we get from the insurance policy, which we display. So that is where we are trying to make people understand, and we are looking to create an atmosphere whereby insurance ecosystem gets that trust back from the customer. Because what happens is, Sukant, you have to understand, insurance is a promise.
True.
And if that promise is not realized at that moment of truth, what happens is that the confidence of the insurance policy holder goes for a toss. That is where we are trying to make people understand that we are helping you with claim rejection and everything, but the vision is, and like the core idea of this thing is to get that trust back of the insurance policy holder. We want to tell people that insurance is good and it is a basic necessity. And what the world has gone through COVID, it has made us realize that insurance is one of the basic necessities along with food, water, and shelter, right?
So, Ravi, what made it's a very unique problem. Even when I came through it for the first time, I was kind of, quite intrigued with what you guys are doing. So, the very first question that came to my mind was, like, what made you guys do this? So, what was that start? What was that trigger? What was that a starting point? I'm sure there must have been some experience, or there must have been some, first-hand experience which led to this.
Okay. Again, Sugant, as I told you, I was not with this company from the start. So this idea is with the other founders. So if people have seen our Shark Tank video, my CEO Deepak has very clearly narrated how it happened. So they are insurance professionals. So they have like spent their all life in insurance domain. And what they used to feel like when they were working for these insurance companies, what they used to feel like is, people used to come and people used to share their problem, and out of their basic nature, basic human nature, they used to help people. But then what they realize is, this problem is too huge to be solved by like nitpicking one or two individuals.
True.
This has to be done at a scale to make people feel like that insurance is not bad. And most of the time what happens is, the insurance policy holder and the insurance company are just facing miscommunication. Insurance company wants to resolve claim, but they want some proof in form of documentation, in form of some papers and anything. The insurance policy holder doesn't know that. So what we are doing is like, we are bridging that gap. It is not that somebody is doing it on purpose, but insurance companies would need the documentation. We have maintained from day one that insurance companies pass most of the claims. They want to pass the claims, but there is a process that they need to follow. But what happens is that the layman or the insurance policy holder is emotional in its approach. He's saying that you have to pass my claim just because I have bought an insurance policy, but that doesn't happen like that. And
True.
every time the claim is rejected, the insurance policy holder feel that he has been wrongly done, and that is where the miscommunication happens. So what we are trying to say is, I'll give you a data point. So if, let's say, there are 100 people who come to insurance Samadhan on a date, on a single day, we only take 3 to 5% of complaints. Rest 95% of people, we make them understand that insurance company has taken the right decision and you need to go back to the insurance company. And that is where, instead of stopping their premium, or instead of letting that policy lapse, people actually go on and continue their policy. So that is where the insurance companies have also started to understand the value that we bring onto the table.
Correct. So basically, yeah, in a nutshell, you are also making them understand what
That
and
is
what not, needs to be
exactly,
done to
that
get
is
that
the
claim.
core.
Yes.
That is the core. That is the core. The insurance ecosystem has to flourish, because
No,
at the end of the
absolutely.
day, it is about the customer. It is not about insurance Samadhan. It is not about, it is about the policy holder.
Right, right. And I think the penetration is still very low, right? I think 4,
Very low.
5%, that was the
Yeah, yeah,
penetration,
yeah.
right,
Single
for
digit, less
health
than. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and most of these are still with, I think the corporate insurance is what the majority of where this medical insurance lies in. People still don't go and buy individual health insurances.
So we do a series of blogs, we do a series of YouTube videos. On our social media handles, you will find a lot of information that we do, just to make people understand the importance of insurance, just to make people feel that insurance is the need. And we do not sell. All we are doing this is because we care for that insurance
Yes.
policy holder. We care for the insurance ecosystem.
सही बात है. True, true. How is the, moving to our next, maybe, topic, Ravi? The market, all of us know how market is these days, right? For the last, I think it's almost 1.5 year, almost 18 months now, right?
Mhm.
And how is it going with you guys now? I think there has been two aspects to it. One, obviously, on the funding side, and the second is on the talent side.
Right.
So, how are you guys navigating, through this funding winter?
Actually, Sukant, it hasn't been that difficult. If I have to be really honest with you, it hasn't been that difficult. Some of the stories that I have been hearing from my counterparts has been literally terrifying. But we have been blessed in that way that we have people on our side who have built a sort of relationship with us. So that makes it easy for us to hold on to individuals. Uh, uh, so when we started, Sukant, one thing that we were very clear is, like, we are going to build a lean team,
Hmm.
because it is easier for you to, like, build that bond, build that feelings, like build that culture, when you have
Exactly.
less people, and people who are there from the start understand what you bring to the table. It becomes, I will not say impossible, but it becomes more and more difficult once the team starts to expand. That the DNA like somehow gets diminished with every people in the every person in the hierarchy comes. Like, there is something or the other that happens, and it is natural that it is going to happen with more and more people coming into the system, everybody coming with a different thought process. It is ought to get diminished. But then we have a very so we raised our, so I will give you a data point. We started, I was the first person who joined for insurance Samadhan in technology. Then I hired a designer, then I hired a couple of back-end engineers. When we raised our pre-series A, we were only 7 people in tech team.
Wow.
It is after we have gone on Shark Tank, and we have seen, like, and like a paradigm shift, or like an orbit changing situation for our organization. That is where we have gone and hired more people. Still we are around, still we are 22 people in tech. Only 22 people in tech.
Wow.
so
Wow.
so, so that's how, and like, it becomes easier because on a day to day basis, I talk to my team. I understand what they are going to do. as a leader, my first thing is to make them feel that they are being valued, they are learning. And I always think I have a very simple perspective about this thing. X axis and y axis, you need to see a graph. X axis what the company wants, y axis what the person wants, and there has to be interaction every single day, and you have to maintain that. It cannot be like the difference between both of them cannot go beyond something whereby the person starts to feel that he's not aligned, or like the company starts to feel that they are not being aligned. That
Not
has to
heard.
be
I
there.
think that's the most important aspect, right?
That is,
When the team starts feeling that they're not heard.
yeah, they're not hard. So you have to, as a leader, you have to give them that space whereby they are comfortable in voicing their opinion, they're comfortable in saying what they're, and you need to give them ownership, and that is the only way you are going to find next generation, next level of leadership. And that's how you need to trust them. And they are going to, because you have made a lot of mistakes on your life, you have to let them make some mistakes also, and that's how they will learn on the job. I also, like, I'm a prime example of a person who has learned on the job all his life. I have never backed out from a challenge. If you tell me, Ravi, you need to do something, I'll be up for it. Maybe I will just learn on the job. But what's more important is
Right.
100% getting into this thing, giving your 100%, and you will make something out of it. And like more times than not, you will be at the right side of the result.
So what do you think, what is that one single thing, when we talk about culture, when we talk about, making your team feel heard, and you have scaled your team from 1 to 22, right? I think that is no small feat, right? So what do you think, that what is one single thing that makes you, what where the culture basically trickles down the team? Because obviously, let's say when you scale from 22 to 50, you can't be there every time for everyone. So how do you make the culture trickle down your team?
It has been very easy till now, because one single thing that I always maintain is you need to laugh with your team. Very simple. Second thing is, once the team starts to scale, you need to make sure that you are spending good quality time with the person who is going to lead them from here, still maintaining that connection with the person who was there with you, but are now not directly reporting, but you still need to maintain that connection with them. But you need to spend
Right.
a lot of time with the person who is going to replace is not the right word, but who is going to take the helm position right
Take the
now. And
charge, right? It's a
yeah,
marathon.
take the charge, right?
Right.
Because you cannot be involved in a day to day manner. And I am a co-founder also, so there is a business side of things that I need to deal with. And
Right. Right.
I lead the product also. So there is a tech team and there is a product team also. So there is a product head, there is an assistant product manager, there is a marketing manager, there is a design team, there is a social media team that also reports to me. So I have to make the balance between the two. Therefore it becomes imperative for me that I spend a lot of time with this product head and engineering manager who is going to take the ownership of the teams that I have built. But again, and I need to give them that confidence that this is their team, and I need to let them know on a day to day basis what worked for me, but I want to let them do in their style that they feel comfortable in. that
Right.
is that
Right.
is most important, that you need to, and you need to tell them ki this is what I tried, worked for me, and it hasn't worked for me. Maybe you can avoid that part, and maybe you can try to do this part because it worked for me. But make sure that they have the independence, they have that comfort that you can try it in your own style, and you need to trust them that they are going to do a good job.
So what I have seen, I think absolutely bang on what you have said. So, but what I have observed that, when a team scales, and let's say you are talking directly to all your engineers, right? You are talking or interacting on a day-to-day basis. And when you scale, you add a manager, or you add a tech lead. And now that person who was not talking to you is now reporting to that person or talking to that person. Which sometimes engineers are very egoistic, right? So ego plays a huge role for these guys. So how do you manage that, because now they don't really want, they might not want to talk to that tech lead or the manager, and but that's the reality.
It's not about engineers, Sukant, it is about humans. We as humans are egoistic, right?
I think engineers little bit more cocky, but yeah.
But then again, as I have said, you do not need to break the connections with those people also. They should not feel like they are like you are unreachable. That is where the problem starts to creep up. You do not need to make yourself unavailable for those people. They are the ones who have done the hard yards with you. and
Absolutely.
and and what I have done is like, so there is a ESOP policy. I have granted ESOPs to the people who started building with me, so that they start feeling like they are part of the system. When the company grows, they also need to grow. You have to keep in your mind that people uh, uh, need to grow with the company to make themselves feel like they are part of the company. These are small things that you need to keep doing, and you do not need to interact with them on a daily basis. But then again, once in a week, maybe some event and everything, you need to make sure you make them feel that they are still valued, and they are
To be there
they are
for them.
still part of that organization in a similar manner as they were. It is like, it is something that will be easier to crack if you have known the person as an individual rather than just a techie, and that is where the difference starts to come. So I have spent quite a lot of time with these people to understand them beyond the profession that they are. I have like, we know about each other families, we know about each other problems. There are phone calls that I have attended at like at midnight, whereby people have shared that there is a personal problem, and I have gone ahead and like helped them in every manner. So once you have created that bond, it will be easier for you to navigate that journey. So that's how I try to do it. Matlab, it has worked for me. Maybe 22 is still a lesser number. Let's see how it goes when we scale beyond 100. But I think if that DNA is part of this
It
thing,
works
it will
similarly,
happen.
exactly like you said. If it's part of the DNA, that's how it starts replicating, at one point of time.
I can see it beautifully happening with the next level of leadership, like the product and the engineering manager who reports to me, and then they take care of the team. I can see that beautifully happening with them also. They have also started to realize that this is what they need to do to scale.
Right. Now you mentioned, product and engineering managers. So one more thing that I have observed, that there is always some kind of tussle between product and engineers, right? So how do you again solve that, and how do you think, that how should they work together as a pilot and a co-pilot, right? And acting as co-owners and getting things done, getting feature shipped.
Some kind of a tussle is required, healthy. You do not want everything to be super smooth, because then you are like, there need to be some kind of a disalignment that happens between product
Has
and
to
team.
be a
If not,
pushback certain
has
times.
to be
You don't
some
want
pushback.
pushback, right? So
Yeah, so some kind, but that has to be healthy. That has to be something whereby they are thinking about the organization rather than themselves. So what you need to do is, Sukant, so there are certain frameworks that I have applied. For example, I have told my we did this around 3 months back, whereby I called my product team and told them that for every Jira ticket that they are raising, they need to write what does success looks like for this feature, so that from day one we are exactly have some sort of an idea. I do not want 100%, because that is going to transpire in future. But still, when somebody is trying to give tech something, that this is what needs to be built, and this is a business decision that we have taken, we need to have some idea of how success would look like for this feature, so that when the engineering team starts to spend their bandwidth on this, they are also trying to track all the data points from day one, and they are also trying to visualize that this is how exactly what how this will happen. And one thing that I am very sure about is like, you need to have your engineers and start giving them business sense. You do not need to have robots who are doing coding and they just get a Jira ticket and they just like, I need to just do this stuff and ship it. No, you need to understand. You need to get your engineers talk with your product and make them understand that this is what the customer would feel like if you just ship it in that manner. And our engineering team has always been openly talking about product. My product head is always 24 into 7 available for every single engineer. If he has any doubt about any Jira ticket, he can directly walk into her cabin and ask her, "Ki, this is what I am facing with." I have seen my product head get on calls for hours and hours with vendors to make engineers understand what is being required. So because she also needs to give that engineers confidence, and now once she has done those hard yards, she expects the quality to be delivered. And when an engineer sees that this is being done by the product team and everything, so they start feeling like one. And obviously they report to one person, they are one for me. I don't
right,
I
right,
I I,
right.
I don't I do not get that feeling ki yaar, this was her job, and no, this is everybody's job.
Everybody fails or wins, right? So there is
Yeah.
individual successes or failure.
It doesn't happen like if you have developed a feature, you have built one more thing, one more one liner that I'm very clear, and I have gone on record and said it 100 times, and I repeat it to my team every single day: is do not build fancy tech, build usable tech first. Because engineers get into a group whereby they want to work on new technologies and everything, and the alignment is
Little
on that
obsessed
manner.
sometimes, right?
But first you need to understand your customer. If your customer doesn't understand that language or whatever you have built, it is of no use. It can be the best tool in the world technologically, but if your user is not communicating with it, it is hardly of any use to me.
Has to be usable first.
Has to
Absolutely
be usable first. And
right.
that is where we talk to our users. You hear, and you did not need to. And in today's time, you do not need to go on the field and talk to user. There are hundreds of ways. You can listen to their calls, you can listen to their conversations with your calling team, you can track their user journeys with a lot of tools and everything, and you can understand what the customer is feeling. And then you need to devise your journeys again and again, and as an engineers and the products, you need to understand first that, and as a leader, what my core job is, I need to get them aligned on one single thing, which is the most important stakeholder in this journey, the customer. If that is getting the feel that he is supposed to, everything will align itself.
Absolutely.
If both are, and like, I don't care if you are from product or from tech or anything. If my customer is happy, I am happy with everything. If my customer is not happy, I do not want to get into the thick of things and start understanding who is not doing what. No.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's what, product and tech. So that's what we always talk about, product mindset, which is very difficult to inculcate in engineers, because I see engineers mostly they get little obsessive with tech. They are very practical folks, right? Very, very pragmatic folks. They want to build something nice, something fancy, use some new tech. They always want to keep learning something new, right?
that's
So
where that's where my job as a leader comes into the picture, right? What am I talking to the team?
yeah,
if
setting
i
the
am talking if
expectation,
i
right?
if I am talking to an engineer and I am going to present a mindset whereby I am only concerned about writing some cool code, that is what they are going to start feeling like.
That's what will trickle down. But when if you are obsessed with your customers, your overall, user journey, UX, that's what they'll be obsessed with. Makes so much sense. Great, good. I think, very nice, amazing insights on how to scale a team, early stage team, and how to build culture. Uh, Ravi, you must have seen ki, there have been a lot of, see, AI has been the cool topic that has been talked about every day since LLM, launch of Chat GPT last year. So, what do you think is the impact of LLM or AI on the insurance industry or for insurance Samadhan?
So the tool that I told about, the know your policy tool, is an AI ML tool, right? So AI and ML are absolutely fantastic, but then again, what is the so when I talk about these things, and there is a lot of talk that goes on in my circle of techies and CTOs that I talk to, my counterparts and everything, the basic remains the same. Do you have a use case for it? Do you have a use case for it? We had a use case for it, and we built a tool. For the first 3 years, we didn't venture into AI and ML because there was not a clear cut use case for it. Once we identify a clear cut use case for it, we just went all hands in. So there is a team that was like hired for this project. There are 5 Indians who have been working for a year on this thing, and we have now launched the product. Me and my CEO were on that stage of India InsurTech Association in Mumbai, whereby we projected this tool that we have been building for more than a year now.
Mhm.
So all of this is a very very good, like, all these technological advancement that are there, and we are on it. We have, like I told you, we have like upgraded our tech stack last week only, because it's been 5 years since like somebody and the tech debt was becoming too much for a CTO to hold on to, and like I had to put my foot down as a CTO that this sprint is going to be a
Is it?
tech overhaul that is going to happen, because business is always going to put down his foot. Yeah, numbers is very important, we can't have this and everything, but somehow you need to understand all these node version and elastic versions and redis version has to be upgraded, and
Help
it has to be
help translate, those tech debts into those business numbers for
numbers.
the business folks. So how do you translate them? That's where. That's where,
uh,
the entire story is.
actually all of this, Sukant, comes down to the trust that you have between founders and everything.
Mm.
When I go back to my founders and I need to tell them this is something that tech needs to undertake, and they understand this thing, because and I also like we and it doesn't like, and it doesn't happen like this whereby I go and say, "Okay, this is going to happen." No, I listen to them, but I just try to make them understand also, and it is about the trust that the founding team has on each other. If this is required, I need to make a time
Until
for it.
investors have not started interfering, yes. But that comes into the picture when you even ask for a
So, no,
10%.
we have been blessed with good investors also. One of the investor has been Southeast Asia head for Amazon. He has been looking after tech from day one. I have a lot of conversations with him, lot of respect, and he has brings a lot of value on the table. Uh, so that's how it helps. So you have to be one thing, Sukant, I have identified is you can have a lot of good people on board, but till the time you do not exactly know what you want from them, there will always be some breakage in communication. You need to do your hard yards. When you go to them, you need to tell them this all you have tried, this all has happened, this is exactly where you are getting stuck,
Be
if
very
they can help you with.
specific about it. Right, right,
This is
right.
what you can help with. And once they have understood that this guy has done all of this before coming to me, and I just need to pitch in for that very short of time, maybe those 15 minutes are a game changer for him and game changer for me, and that trust keeps on building. And
Correct.
I need to go back and tell them your 15 minutes had led to this change in my architecture, had led to this change in our business number. That is where he is also looking for the next conversation with me. Now he's more interested in why I'm not coming to him, because then he's like, what are you building next? What is the next thing that we are trying? And then he gets into that feeling whereby how can, and now I get calls from those investors whereby they say, how can we join in, because they are also excited about the stuff that we are doing.
Right. And once you discuss that problem and they have suggested something, they are also kind of, there is a curiosity to know, that what has happened with the input that they have given, right? They'll
Given
obviously come
obviously.
back and ask you what is going on now.
and
So
and and like what I have figured out, Sukant, is, and you must have also figured out in your circle, is people become insecure when they try to go out and ask something. People think that people will, no, you have to just go out and say, Ki, this is something that I am struggling with, and go like, you get to, this mindset will help you a lot in the longer run. I've been on the table with people with 20 years of experience, 25 years of experience. Now they're building a CTO. I am only a 12-year-old CTO who has been building a technology for 4 years, but we have like gone more than 100 crore of valuation in for our company in less than 4 years. But the DNA has always been from like, it has to be a day one mentality, it has to be day one attitude, and it has to start with me. If
right.
I do not have that energy every single day, my team will not have that energy.
Right, right, right. Absolutely. And see, the thing is, you really, it's not about, uh, see, tech and everything. It's so vast. Even with a 20 or even with a 30-year experience, you can never know everything. What you are building is just something that is in your context, right?
I'll just
Well,
give you an example. I'll just give an example. On Thursday night, we upgraded our tech stack for something, and there was one thing which was not working. I was on my laptop, started coding. Just the moment I got to know this is a problem, and I thought, okay, this is happening. Like wrote a little bit of code, started debugging this thing, and like it was up and running in less than an hour. And this is something that I always want to happen with me. A techie will remain a techie at heart. It doesn't matter you make him a CTO or a co-founder or whatever it is. If you go
exactly.
back and ask me what do you want to do, I will say, give me my couple of hours of coding every single day, and I will be good for life.
Look for opportunities to, do something. Even if
But
it is a small POC, you look for opportunities to do that.
100%. But now, but like with teams now, like doing their PRs and CI/CD pipelines and everything, I am more scared of like putting my code, because what happens is like the code has moved to a different level, and I am just coding. I am not taken the latest tool and everything. So I now say, can I do this thing? And my engineering manager says, no, you do not have to, because we have already moved to the next version and everything. But still, I like to chip in whenever I am required. Lot less coding now, but yeah, but try to be hands on as much as possible.
Great, great. So, what do you think? What on the hiring side, from what I am observing or what I'm hearing right now, that you have built a really great team and you're super proud of what you have built so far, right? Your team as well. So, what has really worked for you in terms of hiring? What is your hiring philosophy as such?
Making a lot of mistakes.
But how do you identify that, when you are hiring someone, when you are interviewing someone?
Do not hire your clones. Start looking for something which you do not have. And like maybe so yeah, there is no so Sukant, there is no playbook in running a startup. There is no playbook in hiring people, right? What you have to do is like you need to make a lot of mistakes and you will learn on the job. That's what I have done. There has been like good and good people. There have been challenging people which have like I have worked with, and you have like I am blessed with uh, some of the very challenging people that I have worked with, which have made me realize a lot of things that I was doing wrong. And you need to be in a mindset whereby you can accept that you were wrong. That
True.
is where the growth will start to come in as a human. So when you are hiring, first thing you have to be very clear is what does that role require, what exactly you are going to expect from that person. So I was part of this cohort whereby one of the topics were how do you hire leaders, how do you hire the next level of leadership. And it was a very very good approach and a framework that was given, that you need to write what exactly is the company doing, what exactly the role requires, what exactly the person would be doing in its first week, first month, second month, third month, second quarter. And if you can have that level of details, the person also who is joining understand what is expected of him. It becomes a lot less, because what happens is like you are doing these conversations once the person has joined. He has already joined your organization. Now you are asking him that
Right.
he needs to do this and that, and then now he's saying, yeah, I am the back end engineer, why are you making me do a front end? Or like I am a purely front end engineer, why are you asking me to write a node API and everything? So if you can have these conversations before, it will become a lot easier for you to move forward. And you need to be ready to let go a lot of candidates. uh,
Right.
in the last 1.5 year, as you have said, it was pretty dire before that also. When this COVID bubble was there and everybody was working from home, the salaries went like
That
crazy.
was crazy. That was a
It,
crazy times.
and me and my CEO more than once had a conversation whereby the budgets went haywire, and like the budgets that I had for tech hiring and everything. And the philosophy was again, get a lean team. So what we decided was, I will hire freshers, and then I used to train them on the job and like do them, because to be really honest, we didn't had the budget to go after the big guys. And that is where you need to understand that you need to put the hard yards. If you cannot get good people, you want to become the good people and train those good guys, and now they are like working brilliantly for us.
Right, right, right. No, that is true. During that COVID bubble, I think, people were asking for 3x, 4x of what they had right now.
3x 4x,
So
I there was there was an example whereby I gave something, and the person came back like in the notice period, the person came with like I have got 2x. And then I tried, and then he came like in 15 days flat, he came that I have got some 3x. And that was my first and last experience whereby I offered somebody something which he can match or like this thing. From that day onwards, we have been very clear, if somebody is on his notice period, we do not go ahead with the interview, because if he has already committed to someone else, maybe what we can do for the tech ecosystem is we cannot take away that candidate from the person who is already waiting for him. Maybe that will come around for us also someday.
and that does every single time. So what you are mentioning, what you just said, I think I have faced this so many. So we hired an odd 100 plus engineers, right, during this COVID bubble, and it was crazy. So I can't even tell you how crazy it was. People were, we really didn't know, how to get people, how to hire people, how to get people accept the offer. Even if you roll out an offer, even if you're giving him 3x, you really don't know if that person will join or not. So there was literally no predictability at that point of time.
Agree, agree 100%. And like today also the situation has slightly improved, but yeah, you will still find cases, and it is going to happen. You need to get into a thought process where you need to be ready for these things. But what you can do is like you need to get better, and what you can do is you project yourself better, you can project your organization better, so that the candidate who is looking to join you has the confidence that these are the right guys to go ahead with their journey. And that is where all these LinkedIn profiles and the chats and everything that is happening, you need to show people what you stand for. You need to show people that you are a good leader to work with. You need to show people that there is a good tech culture that is being here. You need to show your teammates that this is something that they need to
Right.
project outside, and that is what will happen what will help you in the long run. People will look at every single thing, and it is okay. It is fair. People who want to join, they should look at everything, and as a leader you need to be ready to project everything. You need to be open about everything, and you need to be open about the feedback also. If there is somebody who is going from your team, you need to have an open mindset that this is something that the person was not feeling good about. This is something you need to work on, and step by, it is not going to happen overnight. We are not like, it is also a journey for me, it is also a journey for the organization, it is also a journey for the tech team.
Absolutely.
But till the time the thought processes, we will try to do each and everything which is in our control. Sometimes you will face a situation whereby things are not in your control. You need to accept that also. You cannot beat somebody's compensation. I can't take names. There are some crazy compensations that people are throwing for engineers.
Someone is getting 2x elsewhere, then for them to stay, I think that is also not fair for them as well, right? So end of the day, I think everyone is working towards wealth creation, right? That's what everyone talk about. VCs talk about everyone. You might want to create value along with wealth. That's a different thing, but I think wealth creation is at the very core for everyone, right?
So that is where you have to understand that what is extra than salary what you are giving them. Maybe you are giving them that environment, maybe you are giving them that feeling where we are giving them that importance, whereby they feel that they are the owners, whereby they feel they are important. You can like work on a certain factors, but again, if 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 there is something that you can't control, learn to accept and move on. You need to get better at things. We will also like get better at compensation when we grow and everything, and it will fall in place someday.
And there is also one more challenge. If you see, if you hire an overachiever, right, and if you're not able to satisfy his hunger to learn and grow, then also it's a very huge cultural misfit. So you also need to
100%.
have that mindset as well, right?
100%, Sukant. I can't stress on this fact. You cannot have somebody who has worked at a very, very big scale and expecting that scale to come out of you, but you as a company are not up to that scale.
Right.
That is also you need to be very careful about.
True.
And startups come with a lot of chaos, whereby there are no processes. You need to come and make processes. And if you have somebody who has worked all his life where processes are already being there, already set, he will
Impossible
have
for that person to
he will have difficulty in
I
getting acclimatized to this.
not even difficult, it will be impossible, so if someone has worked for 10 years in a very structured, in a very process oriented company, and then they are coming to a such a chaotic and an unstructured environment, it's impossible for them to thrive. They have never seen that chaos. They don't know how to navigate through this. They will get anxiety. It will not good for them as well, and not good for the company as well from the culture perspective.
So as a founder, what you are like, what I think the first KR of a founder is like to make chaos into some kind of a process which can be repeated over and over again to get to a result and get your team good at executing those processes. And that is where it comes down to leadership. But if you have someone who is not good at creating processes out of chaos, there is going to be mismatch, and there are going to be some hard conversations. You can have those hard conversations before hearing. It will be good for the company, good for the individual. The later that happens, it is something that we have learned on the job. It is something that I think I can tell for myself, this is something that we have learned on the job. And you get better with time. That's what I can say.
So that's what, I just read this somewhere as well. We don't want to hire our clones, but subconsciously we end up doing that because we feel, that we have done it in a certain way and we have seen some success. And when we see that, we have seen some success with a certain mindset, with a certain personality, and with a certain process, we end up subconsciously hiring, that kind of person. So how do you end up, removing the bias from
It
this
is
entire, very
it it
difficult.
it it, it is it is a lot to do with how you are as a human. Are you as a human uh, comfortable with something which is not known to you? Again, like for example, because there is a very simple formula for this. If somebody is doing the same thing that I can do, I think that person is not adding value to the ecosystem, or is not adding value to the company. It is very simple. That is what I tell my team when I have to be bluntly honest with them. If I am very honest with my team, sometimes I make statements like, if this is something that I need to do, then I think you are not needed in the team, right? You
Which is
need
very
to which is, you need to have that conversation also, so that people understand that they are hired for something which is going to be an additional to what is already there in the system. If you are
right.
also going to be just doing the same thing which is already a KRA of somebody else, I think you are not adding value to the system. And if I am going to be the person who is going to take every decision, then I am the person who is going to become the bottleneck of the tech team, right? If my tech team is always going to be dependent on me to take a certain decision, my availability is going to be the bottleneck for the company.
Correct. Right, right. You can't
So
be the anchor all the time, right? You have to. So basically, I think the biggest job of a leader is to, create leaders and to make the system or make your company uh, basically grow and making it a well-oiled machine which can run even when you are not there. If it still needs to, and if
exactly,
the company doesn't,
the best leader is the one who makes himself obsolete. If you're not there, and if your company is doing, you're the best leader,
right, right, right. Absolutely.
and it will make your job a lot easier. You can spend some time with your family at least.
Although that's not going to, so I think the founders and these guys are mostly problem creators. You will have someone to take care of a problem, will create new problem for yourself.
Yeah, works both ways.
Right, right. So, from the tech perspective, we'll just do, because we have a lot
Right,
of engineers in the audience,
right,
right? So from the tech perspective, what do you suggest? I think we just have 10 minutes left, so we'll just talk a little bit
right.
about on the
Hmm.
tech side,
Hmm.
right? So, what do you think? What should be the mistake for the early founders,
Hmm.
and what they should do, what they should not do when building a tech initially, and what you guys did and worked for you guys.
So what worked for us is like we were very focused about what the customer journey is. We were not just making something, just we felt like ki this is something, because most of the time what engineers, and I count myself amongst them, is we try to get on our past experiences and try to replicate, just to make sure that we have a feeling that we are creating something. And like we will go back to the tech stack that we have worked on. We are going to use tools that we have worked in the past, and we start creating based on that. What we miss out on that is what we do not sit enough with the customer experience team and understand what they are, and it is something that has to be there from day one. Uh, again, for all the budding engineers and all the engineers that join me, one thing that I'm very clear is, get get into writing code as much as you can. Write as much code as you can, and write it in a manner whereby if you see your code 6 months down the line, you should be proud of it. Again, proud of it in a manner that you feel like, you what the hell have you written, and you need to just go ahead and like rephrase that code. You need to be on that learning spree. And languages and everything are a second step. What I consider as first step is get onto the basics of data, how data is managed, how data structures are there. If those are sorted, every language is a cakewalk after that. You need to first understand that programming is basically about two things: how you are going to store data and how you are going to manage data and extract data. Those two things you have to be very clear about. All the algorithms and everything, you just need to get down to the very basic level of how this is being managed. that is
Same.
where that is where all of this is there. You can have all the fancy languages and everything, but you need to, for example, most of the engineers that come, they are like doing their courses from these schools and everything. What they do is like they start using a predefined function, and let's say it will solve them. But what I get into is like how this predefined function is working. Do you know that? How does this needle haystack is working? How does that reversing of numbers is working? What exactly the memory is being used, how exactly it is being stored? That is what you need to understand, because that is where once you are building a system and it goes beyond 1 million users, and that is where my expertise is. I have all my life started building things from scratch and scaled it to 1 million users and beyond, because it will not come through when you have some thousand users. But once when the scale is there, these are the things that will start to create problems for you. So start building it from day one.
Right. That's what, so
And
yeah.
and study documentations before you start coding and everything. Start with, for example, when you're using a library, first understand what is the use case, and start committing, and start contributing on GitHub, and start contributing on Stack Overflow. At the end of the day, programming is just problem solving. First you need to understand there are business use cases that you need to solve. Just don't go into some array reversing and these kind. Obviously these are very important, but get into the shoes of a customer and start solving some business problem. And problems are all around us. There are problems. Start writing logics for that, and then you will realize the true use case. So the people who do internship with us, we are very clear. After 1 week, you are going to pick a problem, a business use case. You are going to first solve it on paper without any programming language. Give me the logic what you will do. If you are clear by that logic, then only you are going to start with the problem solving. Just get a very optimized way of problem solving first. Get your problem solving skills sharpen, and then start writing code for it. Code writing, I can say, I do not want to put a percentage, but more time should be just thinking about how exactly the problem is going to be solved. And spend most of your time in solving problems, riddles, some problem solving questions that are out there. Do not start coding as the. Keep sharpening your brain with these kind of problem solving questionnaires and everything, and start looking around. There are a lot of problems, and understand how an architecture is built. Just don't go that server is something which you do not need to care about. No, you need to care about how exactly that is working. From my experience, when I started my career, I used to do freelancing before I actually got onto a job. I was a developer. I was one of the very few developers that used to sit in the server room and start using those commands, grant privileges, flush privileges, everything. Then start to understand how FTP, and so in our time we were using FTP for transferring of files and everything. And then these Git and SVN started to come, and then we need to understand that there is a copy. Start getting into the niche of how everything is being maintained. There is a reason why all these tools are where it is, but you need to understand why were these developed, what is the basic of everything. There is a lot that people need to understand. Once you understand how all this ecosystem programming is there, then you start writing good problem solving programs and everything, and you will get better at it, because now you understand how exactly everything is being maintained.
Absolutely bang on, Ravi. So guys, problem solving, getting the fundamentals right, and just don't be, just having superficial knowledge, just writing code will not help. That chat GPT can also do, just
Yeah,
writing the code. You also need to
absolutely.
understand how it is done.
And my if I'm so there are a couple of questions that I always uh, uh, ask about people who come to me. My questions start from problem solving questions first, and then we go into this programming questions. First I need to understand how that person is good at problem solving. Can he think on his feet? Can he think about something which he can solve? And then I will look at the syntax and everything. Syntax you can copy from chat GPT. I will buy a $20 subscription for my team. They can use it all day long. What do I need to care about? More about chat GPT subscription, or somebody who can't even think about solving that problem?
True. Sahi baat hai. Absolutely agree on this.
And if somebody doesn't know that a session has to be maintained on the browser also, and there is a communication that happens between the server and the browser is an incognito, and you cannot maintain a key, that guy will struggle. What do I do with, if he doesn't understand that level? What will I do of that engineer if he doesn't understand that kind of a basic? He can write the code, but for debugging also, you need to understand where is the problem, and then you need to understand the whole cycle.
Right. So that's what I strongly believe, that skills can be taught. You can learn the skills, but
And somebody who is
and
curious at
yeah.
problem solving, Sukant, he will make a way out.
Yes, that's what, logic and mindset that can't be taught. That is something you either have or you don't have. It's as simple as that.
and
So
that is and that is my job as a leader, to get people curious every single day. I like
yeah.
there is a WhatsApp channel that we all are like, our tech team is there. I keep sharing all of those Twitter threads whereby even the basics of something, whereby sometimes my engineers would think, why is he sharing this thing, this is very simple, but I keep sharing them, keep reading them, like every single thread. And like from very very high threads to simple very basic threads, I keep sharing with them that keep reading. Why you cannot search a key value pair in this technology? But it is very simple, because it is maintaining a caching. That is why you need to use this thing, and our use case is perfectly for this. But if you tomorrow we have something whereby we need to create a report and we need to create an interface whereby the business management needs to search something, this will fail.
Mhm. You're right.
It is only a key value pair storage. It is not it is not something which is meant for searching. It
Right.
might solve your today's business case, but tomorrow obviously every data has to be presented to someone. What will you do if it is like? And that is where, and you need to constantly have subscriptions of these TechCrunch and everything, and a lot of stuff out there, whereby as a leader I need to be on my toes, learning every single day that this is something new which has come, which is better than what we are doing. And maybe trying to like we have like upgraded our tech stack. Constantly we are looking for something whereby can we move our tech stack to this better version, what is the way of phasing out this technology and getting into this. We started with Angular, we have moved on to React. We are this thing is on Flutter. Our mobile app is on Flutter, and now we are in process of developing a white label solution. But it has all been very very simple and easy for us, because from day one I was of the mindset that this solution has to go out and has to be available to a lot of people. That is why even our own systems, for example, there are three projects who talk to each other like they are outside the organization, with all the authentication services, API requests and documentations in place from day one. That is my job as a leader, and that is what I want to tell every engineer. Start behaving like somebody's accessing your information from outside from day one. That is where, because eventually your product will be used by people outside the organization. And even your internal projects, if they are, for example, if there is an admin that you have done for your stakeholders, and there is an engine that you are building for storing data, they both have to interact as if somebody outside the organization. That is simple basic that we have done. And it was there from day one that it has to be a simple modular wise approach, whereby if we have to expose this part of the system to outside, we are very very comfortable in doing that. And that is where all our integrations are very easy from day one. And I am not saying that I'm somebody who did this from my own. No, this came from my experience of working with very smart engineers when I was growing up.
Makes a lot of sense, Ravi. And I think this insight is going to help our audience as well. And yeah, guys. So I think this was Ravi Mathur for us, and we talked about the engineering problems, the team culture, the current market landscape, how to build a team, how to scale a team, and how to grow as a good 10x engineer. That is focusing more on building logic, focusing more on building fundamentals, and yeah, and then go about coding, because end of the day, coding is just about communicating to the system. That's how you are talking to your computer. Thank you so much, Ravi. It was a really nice conversation, and I think we really had a very good insights on building a team, building a company from 0 to 1 and 1 to 10, and what it takes to build a really amazing tech and a team. Thank you so much. Thanks again.
Thanks, Sukant. Thanks for having me. And one thing that I always leave with is I have tremendous amount of respect for these engineers who are coming up, because they are giving us the confidence that our country is the next big thing. And I
Yes.
love to talk to them, because the kind of energy they bring onto the table, the kind of ideas these people have. I mentor a lot of people. There are a lot of messages that I get from on LinkedIn, whereby people ask for some opinion. More than happy if anybody of them wants to connect on LinkedIn, ask some questions, because there is a lot of learning which I get from these people. And I now I get that sense of energy that I also need to keep upgrading myself, because the next generation is there and everything is there.
yes, yes.
Pleasure,
It's,
pleasure
I
to
think,
be part of this conversation, and best
awesome.
wishes to Sunday Labs team. You guys are professional. You guys are
Thank you so
uh,
much, Ravi.
you're like from the moment I got introduced to you and Aditya, you guys have been wonderful.
Thank you so much, Adit. You're just being a little too humble, but thank you. Thanks again.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
definitely, we'll be sharing and circulating your LinkedIn profile as well. Anyone who wants to get in touch with you, they'll be getting, touching base with you over LinkedIn. They can talk to you, and I think you're okay with that.
Absolutely fine. More than happy to help anybody. And because I always maintain learning is bi-directional, I get to learn a lot more.
That's so true. So true. Absolutely.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Sukar.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Ravi, once again. And I hope you have a great rest of the Sunday.
Sure, you guys too. Let's
So,
watch some cricket.
yep, yep. Right.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right. Thank you so much, Ravi. Thank you so much, guys, everyone who has been here. And you'll be getting a copy and the recording of this uploaded very soon on our LinkedIn page as well. And it will be on YouTube as well. Thanks, Ravi. Thank you once again. Thank you. Bye bye.